Hello everyone, Derek's Damn Toys, and we are back with another action figure review. A little bit of a unique one for you guys, as I've never reviewed any of the AEW women's figures before. But today we've got the Unmatched Series 11. Yeah, that says 11 down there in that little corner down there. But we've got Unmatched Series 11 Sky Blue. I wanted to call it Unrivaled for whatever reason. As you can see, we've got all these nice figures in the wave. I do have the Will Ospreay. I saw the Danielson a couple of times. I kind of wouldn't mind getting it, but I don't have any of the other Danielsons, so I would be stuck with the eye patch head scan, so I'm a little iffy on that one. But all the rest of the figures, they look pretty intriguing. Doesn't mean I'm gonna get them all. Honestly, I was shocked that I even picked this one up, if I'm gonna be honest with you, but then I thought about it and I was like, not just would it be kind of nice to finally review an AEW women's figure, but she is also technically, well, what was now known as the House of Black. Of course, Aleister Black's now back in WWE, and Brody King and Buddy Matthews, I think, kind of just do their own thing, while Julia and Sky Blue just do their own thing now. I don't know, AEW, it's got a lot of hits and misses, a lot of good and a lot of bad. Of course, most wrestling can be like that, but why don't I shut my trap and we can get Sky Blue out of this plastic prison now, shall we? Alrighty, you guys. We finally were able to manage to get the Sky Blue out of the plastic prison. Almost quite literally a plastic prison, because I had absolutely no idea how I was getting the figure out of the fucking plastic casing there. But we finally managed. As you can see, she's just chilling there, waiting for me to get into these accessories, and gladly will do so, as she does come with two different sets of hands. You've got these open palm slap hands, and then you've got a set of fist hands, no weapon holding hands or something like that, not even a set of hands to hold the ropes. A little bit disappointed with that, but that's whatever. Getting into the hand, details and stuff like that, though, because both of her hands do have some unique tattoos here. I don't know exactly what they are, so do not ask me. I have no clue what the fuck that is. I can't even get my camera to focus on it. Like, what is that? I don't know. It kind of looks like a dollar sign, but it's not. I have no clue. Another nice little detail, though, that you'll notice a lot better with the other hands is they did include some fingernail polish decal as I knocked the figure over. Oopsie daisy, oh well. She does come with this nice, rose, I'm assuming rose thorn bush crown looking thing. It does definitely have the blue roses on it, or at least I'm assuming those are roses. I'm not the biggest flower guy, so if you are, feel free to let me know in the comments down below. But it is a nice little accessory nonetheless. And then you've got this big rubber skirt dress thing, and well, there's no way to unlatch it. You've actually got to take the torso off to put this back on the figure. Maybe we can kind of display that a little later, as we're all kind of learning some stuff here. It is a nice sculpt nonetheless. It's actually kind of soft for how solid it is, but nonetheless, we can get into the Sky Blue figure herself and taking a look at this head scan, if I can get it to focus. The head scan is quite nice. I love the eye makeup. The hair looks pretty on point. I can't really complain too much about the Jazzware head scans. When they do them well, they do the head scans justice. I can definitely say that with people like Wardlow and Jericho and Kenny and Cody when he was a part of the company. A lot of these guys, including a lot of the figures on the back of the packaging here, tend to have really good head scans. But nonetheless, that doesn't really matter too much. The hair is super nice though. Getting into the attire itself, of course, it wouldn't be a sky blue attire if it wasn't blue themed. You've got the blue, I almost wanted to call it like a zebra pattern, but I don't know exactly what kind of pattern to call that. Maybe a tribal pattern. But got the nice blue tribal-ish pattern with the black like piece here with all the bedazzled designs. Of course, all those are painted on, no sculpted detail. And that in particular, the belt here on her lower half of her gear is actually sculpted, so that is somewhat of a nice like little detail there. You've got the, is that like an Egyptian eye? Like the Eye of Horus or whatever the fuck they call it? I'm not too sure, don't ask me. But got the nice little blue decal there on both sides. Everything else is bedazzled. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't notice that there was actually some designings here on the back of the top, along with some more of the bedazzling stuff, so they didn't get lazy when it came to the back of the attire. It's great to know. You get into the lower half, and it's all pretty much just the black and bedazzled from there. One thing I will say that kind of threw me a little off guard was the calf cut. Instead of having ankle rotation, they gave you calf rotation. At least happy there's some sort of like boot rotation there, but because she's wearing shoes, or at least like low cut boots, I would have kind of thought maybe they would have put the articulation down here, but it's kind of whatever from there. Of course, looking at some of the rest of the detail work here on this figure, you've got the nice tattoo detail of the moon that's made out of flowers there. Got all the Roman numerals on her hand. Got that, that one hand tattoo that I can't seem to depict. And then over on the other arm, you have the other tattoo I can't seem to depict. I think it looked like a 9. I'm not too sure though. And if I can rotate the thigh enough here, you can see her flower thigh tattoo there. All nice tattoo work. I can't really complain about it at all there. As far as the figure posing wise goes, I'm not going to really attempt to rotate the head because the hair is going to kind of just get in the way, but you can see it does rotate, so there is a plus there. You've got the shoulder movement, which is a little stiff, but it's there. Upper arm or upper bicep swivel. You've got the double jointed elbows. You've got wrist swivel. You've got wrist bend. If I can, did it bend? Okay, yeah, there we go. Now it bent. So, got nice detailing there. I kind of forgot to point this out. You do have the fingernail polish that I was talking about earlier. Very well represented here on the open hands. The upper body articulation, kind of similar to the rest of Jazzware's figures, though her front bend doesn't really work too well. Kind of like WWE Ultimate Editions, but the back bend is quite nice. You've got the upper rib rotation in a way, though it doesn't move all the way like it does on some of the other AEW figures. You've got the lower lower waist articulation, though it's a little stiff on this figure. Not gonna complain about that though. You've got upper thigh cut. Of course, the boot does kick forward. You can have her doing a nice little super kick here, so it's all nice and dandy in that department. The knees, because they are not pinless, move pretty flawlessly. Can't complain anywheres in that department. Of course, I did point out the upper calf cut instead of it being ankle cut, but it does have the rotation ankle ordeal, so you can rotate the ankle in whatever situation you may need. But yeah, I guess with that being said, why don't we get her all up into a final pose and we can just kind of talk about how much we like the figure, because I mean, I do like it. It's a little odd though, and I'll explain that when we get into that portion. Alrighty, you guys, now that we have the sky blue all posed up with the little, like, skirt thing, and she's also got her crown on. Let's be honest, I thought the crown was supposed to go a little bit deeper on the forehead, but it's, I guess from the, like, reference photo on the back, it's supposed to sit a little bit high, which I think I got it just right. I don't know, I think that looks a lot better than it did just a second ago. But yeah, all well around, when it comes down to it, comparing this figure to like a WWE figure, just because this is my very first AEW women's figure, I can definitely say I'm intrigued with collecting more of these figures, just because, honestly, I think the posability on this is pretty great. Maybe some of the other women's figures not so much, but you know, this actually kind of makes me want to go find the Julia Hart, maybe find the Supreme Dr. Britt Baker, and a couple other AEW women's figures that they put out recently, like the Jamie Hayter, and some of those other women's figures that they do have out there in the market right now. For me personally, of course, I do have to get Sky Blue and Julia Hart guarantee off the rip, and I say it like that because they are my two favorites. Penelope Ford and Britt Baker definitely being some like top AEW women that I like. Of course, you know, Mariah May just left and went to WWE, so I guess you can kind of consider her more under the WWE banner, but while she was in AEW, I did enjoy a lot of her stuff and Toni Storm stuff as well. You know, they do have pretty nice women's rosters amongst both companies, so it's more or less just what do you prefer and what do you not prefer. But at the end of the day, this is a pretty nice start to a women's collection that's been slowly growing, because you may know, you may not know, I don't have the biggest women's collection in the world. I don't go out of my way to collect all the women that I can, though I should definitely try to collect a few more here and there. Like, I do need a Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch would be nice to have in the collection, but I don't recall actually grabbing one, though now, in a sense, I do technically have two Rhea Ripleys, which is kind of funny. But yeah, overall, when it comes down to it, what would I rate this figure on a scale of 1 to 10? Honestly, there's a lot of good things about it. This waist wrap thing that she has, the little skirt thing, not the biggest fan of it though. It serves its purpose. It doesn't really hinder much articulation. In fact, because of how small the figure is in general, it actually kind of helps her stand up. So if you do plan on using her for display purposes, that may be the way to go. Not saying that she's terrible at standing, but I could see her being one of the figures that is easy to knock over, just with a little bit of the right, like, press of the foot into the floor. Anyway, I do love the crown accessory. The only thing I do have the big gripe with is the fact that we could have at least gotten maybe one more set of hands, just because if I ever needed her to, I have no way for her to grab weapons or anything fun if I ever wanted to use her in a hardcore match, though. Very unlikely, let's be honest. I don't use any of the women in my pick fed, as I'm actually working on the next pick fed episode. Finally decided and mustered the courage to, you know, actually do this review. I've had this figure now for like 3-4 days, and I just haven't bothered to review it. So yeah, finally getting to it and getting this figure out to all of you. I do have at least one more figure guaranteed on the way right now. I have one under pre-order. Technically the pre-order stopped, sold out, and I still haven't received nothing yet about when I'll be getting said figure, so hopefully I'll be getting that here soon. But enough said about all that. What would I rank this figure? Well, with the lack of the at least one good set of hands guaranteed, I'm gonna honestly give this Sky Blue a good solid 7.5 out of 10. I would give her an 8 if we at least got the extra set of hands, making it a almost damn near perfect figure. But my only big gripe with this, besides the hands, would actually be the fact that the ankles don't rotate but the upper calf does. As you know, she doesn't have any boots that really go up that high. It's just her like leg stockings or whatever the hell they are. Either way though, 7.5 is a pretty good solid ranking, at least around here. Of course, all just my opinion. You might like this figure way better, you might not. Viewer discretion is advised, I guess. But on to the Dave Meltzer scaling, you know, the good old 1 to Young Buck, the good old 1 to 5 stars. I gave her a 7.5 out of 10. I think a good solid 3.5 out of 5 should work. Maybe you can tell me if I'm wrong or whatever. None of you realistically ever tend to though, so I don't think I'll ever be worrying about that. But with all that being said, I don't really have anything else to say, so if you guys would like to, feel free to, you know, like the video if you would like to like the video. If not, womp womp, I guess. But if you did like the video and you would like to check out some of my other content, feel free to go check out some of my other content, of course. We did just upload CM Punk versus Shinsuke Nakamura, the main event of night 2 to our United Kingdom tour. We are currently working on night 3 as we speak, so maybe go check some of that out. But of course, we do have some other reviews up on here, like the Ultimate Edition Drew McIntyre. We got the Rhea Ripley I was talking about, the Elite Series 16 AJ Styles. You know, we've got plenty of stuff here up on YouTube, so what are you waiting for? Go check it out. If you guys would, you know, like to, feel free to go check that out. On top of speaking of feel free, if you guys would like to, feel free to subscribe. After all, it is free to subscribe. You're not getting charged a premium penny to subscribe to the channel. So if you guys did like and or enjoy the review and or enjoy some of my other content, feel free to do that as well, as it definitely does help add to the encouragement. We are very, very close to 400 subscribers. In fact, we are currently sitting at 384 as of recording this. So if you guys, you know, would like to subscribe, definitely helps the channel, definitely helps me want to keep making more videos, even though I do enjoy the pig fed portion of it, whether I get a bunch of likes or views on it or not. I just really enjoy having that fun aspect to my channel, I guess you could say. I don't really know exactly how I want to describe it. Kind of went on this little tangent that I don't normally do, so womp womp, I guess. But I don't have anything else to say unless you guys would like to follow me on Instagram under the same name, of course, and in fact using the same profile picture. I don't think there's anyone else that's out there trying to fake my Instagram, and if you are, well, that's a little sad, I guess. But yeah, I don't know what else to say, really. I guess we can sign out of here now. So have a good rest of your day, night, evening, whatever the case may be. I don't know, because I'm not in your time zone. I just know I got work tonight. I'm tired. It's not even noon yet, but I've been up since like 5 o'clock this morning. So yeah, I guess the early bird is gonna have to get to work tonight. And on that note, we are getting out of here. So deuces, ooses, yay.